중에 가장 큰 변화는 매일 일정 시간만큼 저녁 시간에 운동하는 건데요. 며칠 몇 달 전에 허리를 다쳐서 함께 못해요. 제가 그전에는 같이 했었는데, 그래서 이 시간쯤에 운동 시작하는 거 약간 확인해야 돼요. 그래서 잘하고 있는지 확인하고 왔어요. 신속하게 얼른 읽어보도록 하겠습니다. Chapter 2. Living again. No one's here, and he shouted down. Jack thought about going home. Then he thought about all the books in the treehouse. He started up the ladder. When he was nearly to the treehouse, he saw right in the distant sky. Dawn was starting to break. He crawled through a hole in the floor and took off his backpack. It was dark inside the treehouse, and it was shining freshly on the book scattered about. They are still here. She stopped the right on a dinosaur book. It was the book that had taken them to the time of the dinosaurs. Remember the Tyrannosaurus? Asked Annie. Jack shuddered. Of course, he remembered. How could anyone forget seeing a real live dinosaur Rex? No, Tyrannosaurus Rex. The right pair on a book about Pennsylvania. A red silk bookmark stuck out of it. Remember the picture of Frog Creek? Said Annie. Of course, said Jack. That was the picture that had brought them home. There's my favorite, said Annie. The light was shining on a book about knights and castles. There was a blue leather bookmark in it. Annie turned to the page with the bookmark. There was a picture of a knight on a black horse. He was riding toward the castle. Annie, close the book, said Jack. I know what you're thinking. Annie pointed at the knight. Don't, Annie! We wish we could see this guy for real. Annie said. No, we don't, shouted Jack. They heard a strange sound. Name! It sounded like a horse name. They both went to the window and he shined the flashlight down on the ground. Oh no, whispered Jack. A knight, said Annie. A knight in shining armor riding a black horse through the Frog Creek wood. Then the wind began to moan. The reef began to tremble. It was happening again. We are leaving! Cried Annie. Get down! The wind moaned louder. The river shook harder, and the treehouse started to spin its palm faster and faster. Jack squeezed his eyes shut. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Jack opened his eyes. He shivered. The air was damp and cool. The sound of a horse's whinny came again from below. Neigh! I think we're here, whispered Annie. She was still holding a castle book. Jack peeked out the window. A huge castle loomed out of the fog. Uh, no, a huge castle loomed out of the fog. He looked around. The treehouse was in a different oak tree, and down below, the knight on the black horse was riding by. We can't stay here, said Jack. We have to go home and make a plan first. He picked up the book about Pennsylvania. He opened it. to the page with the red silk bookmark. He pointed to the photograph of the Frog Creek wood. I wish. No, said Annie. She yanked the book away from him. Let's see. I want to visit the castle. You are not. We have to examine the situation, said Jack. From home. Let's examine it here, said Annie. Come on. He held out his hand. Give it. Annie gave it Jack the book. Okay, you can go home. I'm staying, she said. She clicked the flashlight to her belt. Wait, said Jack. I'm going to take a peek, a teeny peek, she said. And she scooted down the ladder. Jack groaned. Okay, she had won. He couldn't live without her beside. He sort of wanted to take a peek himself. He put down the book about Pennsylvania. He dropped the castle book into his bag. He stepped onto the ladder and headed down into the cool, misty air. Chapter 3. Across the bridge. Annie was under the tree looking across the foggy ground. The knights riding toward the bridge. I think, said Annie. The bridge goes to the castle. Wait, I will look it up, said Jack. Give me the flashlight. He took the flashlight from her and pulled the castle book out of his pack. He opened it to the page with the little bookmark. He read the word under the picture of the knight. This is a knight arriving for the castle feast. Knights wore armor when they traveled the long and dangerous distance. The armor was very heavy. A helmet alone could weigh up to 40 pounds. Wow! Jack had weighed 40 pounds when he was 5 years old. So it had to be like riding a horse with a 5-year-old uh, your head. Jack pulled out his notebook. He wanted to take note, and he'd done on their dinosaur trip. He wrote, heavy head. What else? He turned the page of the castle book. He found a picture that showed the whole castle and the building around it. The knights across the bridge, said Annie. He is going to through the gate. He's gone. Jack studied the bridge in the picture he read. A drawbridge across the mud. The mud was filled with water to help protect the castle from enemies. Some people believe crocodiles were kept in the mud. Jack wrote in his notebook, crocodile in mud. Look, said Annie, peering through the mist. A windmill right over there. Yeah, there's a windmill in here too, said Jack, pointing at the picture. Look at the real one, Jack, said Annie, not the one in the book. A piercing shriek spilled the air. Eek, said Annie. The sound like it came from that little house over there. She pointed through the fog. There's a little house here, said Jack, studying the picture. He turned the page and read. The Hawk House was in the inner ward of the castle. Hawks were trained to hunt other birds and small animals. Jack wrote in his notebook, in Hawk, in Hawk House. We must be in the inner world, said Jack. Listen, whispered Annie. You hear that? Drums, horns. They are coming from the castle. Let's go see. Wait, said Jack. He turned more pages of the book. I want to see what's really going on, Jack. Not what's in the book, said Annie. But look at this, said Jack. He pointed to a picture of a big party. Men were standing by the door, playing drum and horn. He read, Panthers were played to announce different diseases in a feast. Feasts were held in the great hall. You can look at the book. I'm going to I'm going to the real feast, said Annie. Wait, said Jack. So did the picture. A short voice, his age carrying tray of food, whole pigs, pies, peacock with all their feather. Peacock? Jack wrote. They eat peacock? Question mark. He held up the book to show Annie. Look, I think they eat. Where was she? Oh, gone. Again. Jack looked through the fold. He heard the real drum and the real horn. He saw the real hawk house, the real windmill, the real moat. He saw Annie dashing across the real drawbridge. Then she vanished through the gate leading to the castle. Chapter 4. Into the castle. I'm gonna kill her, muttered Jack. He threw his stuff into his bag and moved toward the drawbridge. He hoped no one would see him. It was getting darker. It must have been night. When he got to the bridge, he started across the, the wooden plank creaked under his feet. He peered over the edge of the bridge. Were they any crocodile in the mouth? He couldn't tell. Halt! Someone shouted. A guard on top of the castle wall was looking down. Jack dashed across the bridge. He ran through the castle gate and into the courtyard. From inside the castle came the sound of music, shouting, and laughter. Jack hurried to a dark corner and crouched down. He shimmered as he looked around for Annie. Torches lit the high wall around the courtyard. The courtyard was nearly empty. Two boys rode horses that clopped over the gray cobblestones. Nee, they turned. It was the night's black horse. He peered into the darkness. There was Annie. She was hiding behind the well in the center of the courtyard. She waved at him. Jack waved back. He waited till the boys and horses disappeared inside the stable. Then he dashed to the well. 여보세요? 응, 조심해서 오세요. 네. 너네 두 번째 거 시작 안 해? 전화는 지금 퇴근한다는 전화고요. 오늘은 조금 늦었네요. 7시 출발했네요. 보통 때는 6시 반 그쯤, 6시 반쯤 안 돼서 퇴근하는데 오늘은 7시에 전화가 왔고요. 아이들은 이번 여름방학이 다가오면서 이제 매일 1시간씩 운동을 시키고 있어요. 백신을 맞고 나면은 오전, 오후 이렇게 하루 2시간 운동을 시킬 생각이에요. 그렇다고 해서 대단히 빨리 정상 체중으로 돌아가긴 힘들겠지만 그래도 근력은 늘어나겠죠. 체력이 좀 괜찮아지고 바깥에서 또 다시 학교 다니는 게 괜찮아졌으면 하고 그렇게 운동을 시키고 있습니다. Okay, where's my written point here? Okay, 여기 있네요. Jack waved back. He waited till the boys and horses disappeared inside the stable. Then he dashed to the well. I'm going to find the music, whispered Annie. Are you coming? Okay, Jack said with a sigh. They tiptoed together across the cobblestones. Then they slipped into the entrance of the castle. Noise and music came from the bridge room in front of them. They stood on one side of the doorway and peeked in. The piece in the great hall, whispered Jack. He had his breath as he stared in awe. A giant fireplace blazed at one end of the noisy room. Antler and rocks hanging on the stone walls. Flower covered the floor. Boy in short dresses carried a huge tray of food. Dogs were fighting over bone under the table. People in bright clothes and funny hair scurried among the crowd. Some played pony-shaped guitars. Some tossed balls in the air. Some balanced sword on their hand. Men and women dressed in cape and pearls sat at long, crowded wooden table. I wonder which one is the night, said Jack. I don't know, whispered Annie, but they are eating with their figure. Suddenly someone shouted behind them. Jack whirled around. A man carried a tray of pies was standing a few feet away. Who art thou? He asked angrily. Jack, squeaked Jack. Annie, squeaked Annie. Then they ran past as they could down a dim lit hallway. Chapter 5. Trapped. Come on, cried Annie. Jack raced behind her. Were they, be- were they being followed? Here, quick! Annie dashed toward a door off the hallway. He pushed the door open. The two of them tumbled into a dark, cold room. The door creaked shut behind them. Give me the flashlight, said Annie. Jack handed it to her, and she switched it on. Eek! A row of night right in front of them. Annie flicked off the light. Silence. They aren't moving, Jack whispered. Annie turned the light back on. They are just Suit, Jack said. Without hat, said Annie. Let me have the pressurized. A second, said Jack, so I can look in the book. Annie handed him the flashlight. He pulled out the castle book. He flicked through the pages until he found what he was looking for. Jack put the book away. It's called the Armory, he said. It's where armor and weapons are stored. He shined the flashlight around the room. Oh man, whispered Jack, the right pair of shiny breastplate, rag plate, arm plate, unshirt filled with the helmets and weapons, unshirt, spear, sword, crossbow, club, battle axes. There was a noise in the hall. Boys, let's hide, said Annie. Wait, said Jack. I got to check on something first. Hurry, said Annie. I will take just a second, said Jack. I'm not told. Hold this. He handed Annie the flashlight. He tried to lift a helmet from the shelf. It was too heavy. He bent over and dragged the helmet over his head. The visor slipped shut. Oh, forget it. It was worse than having a 5-year-old on your head. More like having a 10-year-old on your head. Not only could Jack not lift his head, he couldn't see anything either. Jack! And his voice sounded far away. 저럴 줄 알았어. 싸우는 것보다 낫죠? 그래도 the boys are getting closer. Turn off the flashlight. Jack's voice echoed inside the helmet chamber. No, the metal chamber. He shrugged to get the helmet off. Suddenly he lost his balance and went crashing into other pieces of armor. The metal plate and weapon scattered to the floor. They lay on the floor in the dark. He tried to get up, but his head was too heavy. He heard the voice. Someone grabbed him by the arm. The next thing he knew, his helmet was yanked off. He was staring into the blazing light of a fiery torch. Chapter 6. Ta-da! In the torchlight, Jack saw three huge men standing over him. One with the very squinty eyes held the torch. One with a very red face held Jack, and one with a very long mustache held on to Annie. And he was kicking and yelling, "Stop! Stop!" said one with the very long mustache. Who art you? Who art thou? Okay, who art thou? Said one with the very red face. Spies, foreigners, Egyptian, Romans, Persians, said the quainty-eyed one. No, you dummy, said Annie. Oh, brother, Jack muttered. Arrest them, said the red face. The dungeon, said the squinty eyed. The guard marched Jack and Annie out of the armory. Then looked back frantically. Where was his backpack? Go! Said the guard, giving him a push. Jack went. Then they marched down the long dark hallway. Squinty, Annie, Mustache, Jack, and Red. Down a narrow, winding staircase. Jack heard Annie shouting at the guard. Dummies! Meanies! We didn't do anything! The guard rocked. They didn't take her seriously at all. At the bottom of the stair was a big iron door with a bar closed it. Squinty pushed the bar off the door. Then he shoved at the door. It creaked open. Jack and Annie were pushed into a cold, clammy room. The fiery torch lit the dungeon. There were chains hanging from the piercing walls. Water dripped from the ceiling, making puddle on the stone floor. It was the creepiest place Jack had ever seen. We'll keep down here. Then the feast is on. Then turn them over to the Duke, said Squinty. He knows how to take care of thieves. There will be a hanging tomorrow, said the Mustache, if the rats don't get them first, said Rat. They all laughed. Jack saw that Annie had his backpack. She was quietly unzipping it. Come on, Rats chained the two old enemies, said Squinty. The guard started toward them and he whipped her flashlight out of the pack. Ta-da! She yelled. The guard froze. They stared at the shiny flashlight in her hand. Annie switched the right on. The guard gaped in fear. They jumped back against the wall. Squinty dropped the torch. It fell into a dirty powder on the floor, sputtered, and went out. My magic wand! Annie said, waving the flashlight. Get down, or I whip you out! Jack's mouth dropped open, and he fiercely pointed her right at one, then the other. It howled and covered their face. Down, all of you! Get down! Shouted Annie. One by one, the guard raked down on the wet floor. Jack couldn't believe it. Come on, Annie said to him. Let's go. Jack looked at the open doorway. He looked at the guard quaking on the ground. Hurry, said Annie. In one quick leap, Jack followed her out of the terrible dungeon. Chapter 7, A Secret Passage. Annie and Jack raced back up the winding stairs and down the long hallway. They hadn't gone far when they heard shouting behind them. Dogs barked in the distance. They are coming! Annie cried. In here, said Jack. He shoved open the door of the hallway and pulled Annie into a dark room. Jack pushed the door shut. Then Annie shined her flashlight around the room. There were rows of sacks and wooden barrels. I'd better look in the book, said Jack. Give it to me. Annie gave him the flashlight and his backpack. He pulled out the book and started hearing through it. Shh, said Annie. Someone's coming. Jack and Annie jumped behind the door as it creaked open. Jack held his breath. A light from a torch danced widely over the sack and barrels. The light disappeared. The door slammed shut. "Oh, man," whispered Jack. "They have to hurry. We have to hurry. They might come back." His hands were trembling as he flicked through the page of the castle book. "Here's a map of the castle," he said. "Look, this must be the room we're in. It's a storeroom." Jack studied the room in the book. These are sacks of flour and barrels of wine. "Who cares? We have to go," said Annie, "before they come back." "No, look," said Jack. He pointed at the map. "Here's a trapdoor." He read aloud. "This door leads from the storeroom through a secret passage to a pre- precipice over the moat." "What's a precipice?" said Annie. "I don't know. We'll find out," said Jack. "But first we have to find the door." Jack looked at the picture carefully. Then he shined the flashlight around the room. The floor of the room was made up of stone. The trapdoor in the picture was 5 stones away from the door to the hall. Jack shined the light on the floor and counted the stones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He stamped on the fifth stone. It was loose. He put the flashlight on the floor. He walked his finger under the thin set of stone and tried to lift it. "Help!" Jack said, and it came over, helped him lift the stone scale out of its place. Underneath was a small wooden door. Jack and Annie tugged on the rope handle of the door. The door fell open with a bump. Jack picked up the flashlight and shined it on the hole. "There's a little rat there," he said. "Let's go." He climbed on the flashlight and felt his way down the small ladder. And he floated. When they both reached the bottom of the ladder, Jack shined the light around them. There was a tunnel. He crouched down and began moving through the damp and creepy tunnel. The flashlight barely lit the stone wall. He shook the light, but the batteries running down. "I think our light's dying," he said to Annie. "Hurry!" she called from behind. Jack went past her. His back hurt from crouching. The light got dimmer and dimmer. He was desperate to get out of the castle before the batteries died completely. Soon He reached another small wooden door, the door at the end of the tunnel. Jack unlatched the door and pushed it open. He poked his head outside. It, he couldn't see anything in the mist darkness. The air felt good, cool and fresh. He took a deep breath. "Where are we?" whispered Eddie behind him. "What do you see?" "Nothing, but I think we've come out the outside of the castle," said Jack. "I will find out." Jack put the flashlight in his pack. He put the pack on his back. He stuck his hand out the door. He couldn't feel the ground, just air. "I'm gonna have to go pit first," he said. Jack turned around in the small tunnel. He lay down on his stomach. He stuck one leg out the door, then the other. Jack inches down, bit by bit, until he was hanging out the door, clinging to the ledge. "This must be the precipice," he called to Annie. "Pull me up," and reached for Jack's hand. "I can't hold you," she said. Jack felt his fingers slipping. Then down he fell, down through the darkness. Splash! Chapter 8. Water filled Jack's nose and covered his head. His glasses fell off. He grabbed them just in time. He coughed and flayed his arm. "Jack!" And it was called from above. "I'm in the mud," said Jack, gasping for air. He tried to tread water and put his glasses back on with his backpack, his shoe, and his heavy clothes. He could hardly stay afloat. Splash! "Hi, I'm here!" Annie sputtered. Jack could hear her nearby, but he couldn't see her. "Which way's ran?" And asked. "I don't know, just swim." Jack dog paddled through the cold black water. He heard Annie swimming too. At first it seemed as if she was swimming in front of him, but then he heard a splash behind him. "Annie!" he called. "What?" A voice came from in front, not behind. Another splash behind. Jack's heart almost stopped. Crocodiles? He couldn't see anything through his water streaked glasses. "Annie!" he whispered. "What?" "Swim faster!" "But I'm here. I'm over here near the edge." She whispered. Jack swam through the dark toward her voice. He imagined a crocodile glittering after him. Another splash not far away. Jack's hand touched a wet rafting. "Ah!" he cried. "It's me! Take my hand," said Annie. Jack grabbed her hand. She pulled him to the edge of the mud. They crawled over an embankment onto the wet grass. "Safe!" Another splash came from the mud water. "Oh man," Jack said. He was shivering all over. His teeth were chattering. He took the water off his glasses and put them back on. It was so misty he couldn't see the castle. He couldn't see even he couldn't even see the mud, much less a crocodile. We made it, said Annie. Her teeth were chattering too. I know, said Jack, but where are we? He peered at the foggy darkness. Where was Drawbridge, the windmill, the hog house, the grove of trees, the tree house? Everything had been swallowed up by the thick, soppy darkness. Jack reached into his wet backpack and pulled out the flashlight. He pushed the switch. No more light. They were trapped, not in a dungeon, but in the still cold darkness. Nay! Horses whinnied. Just then the crowd parted. A full moon was shining in the sky. A pool of light spread through the mist. Then Jack and Annie saw him just a few feet away. The knight. He sat on the black horse. His armor shone in the moonlight. A visor hid his face, but he seemed to be staring straight at Jack and Annie. Chapter 9 Under the Moon. Jack froze. It's him, Annie whispered. The knight held out his gloved hand. Come on, Jack, Annie said. Where are you going? Said Jack. He wants to help us, said Annie. How do you know? I can just tell, said Annie. Annie stepped toward the horse. The knight dismounted. The knight picked Annie up and put her on the back of his horse. Come on, Jack, she called. They moved slowly toward the knight. It was like a dream. The knight picked him up too. He placed Jack on the horse behind Annie. The knight got on behind them. He slapped the rein. The black horse cantered beside the moonlit water of the mud. Jack rocked back and forth in the saddle. The wind blew his hair. He felt very brave and very powerful. He felt as if he could ride ever on this horse with this mysterious night over the ocean, over the world of the moon. A hawk shrieked in the darkness. There's the tree house, said Annie. She pointed toward a grove of trees. The knight steered the horse toward the tree. See, there it is, Annie said, pointing to the river. The knight brought his horse to a stop. He dismounted and helped Annie down. Thank you, sir, she said, and she bowed. Then Jack, thank you, he said, and he bowed also. The knight got back on his horse. He rested his gloved hand. Then he slapped the reins and rode off through the mist. And he started up the tall river, and Jack followed. They climbed into the dark treehouse and looked out the window. The knight was riding toward the outer wall. They saw him go through the outer gate. The crowd started to cover the moon again. For a brief moment, Jack thought he saw the knight's armor gleaming on the top of a hill beyond the castle. The cloud covered the moon completely, and a black mist swallowed the land. "He's gone," whispered Annie. Jack shivered, and he went closer as he kept staring at the blackness. "I'm cold," said Annie. "Where's the Pennsylvania books?" Jack heard Annie fumble in the darkness. He kept looking out the window. "I think this is it," said Annie. "I feel a sick bookmark." Jack was only half listening. He was hoping to see the night armor gleam again in the distance. "Okay, I'm going to use this," said Annie, "because I think it's the right one." Goes, "Okay, I'm pointing. I'm going to Wishy. I wish we could go to Frog Creek." Jack heard the wind begin to blow so quickly at first. "I hope I pointed to the right picture in the right book," said Annie. "What?" Jack looked back at her. "Right picture, right book?" The treehouse began to rock. The wind got louder and louder. "I hope it wasn't the dinosaur book," said Annie. "Stop!" Jack shouted at the treehouse. Too late. The treehouse started to spin. It was spinning and spinning. The wind was screaming. Then suddenly there was a silence. Absolutely silent. Except that one mystery sound. The air was warm. It was dawn. Far away, a dog barked. "I think that's Henry barking." And he said, "We did come home." They both looked out the treehouse window. "That was close," said Jack. In the distance, street right, right there, street. There was a light on in their upstairs window. "Uh-oh," said Eddie. "I think Mom and Dad are up. Hurry, wait." In a daze, Jack unzipped his backpack. He pulled out the castle book. It was quite wet, but Jack placed it back with all the other books. "Come on, hurry," said Annie, scooting out of the treehouse. Jack followed her down the ladder. They reached the ground and took off between the gray black trees. They left the woods and ran down the deserted, deserted street. They got to their yard and crept across the lawn right out to the back door. Jack and Annie slipped inside the house. "They are not downstairs yet," whispered Annie. "Shh," said Jack. He led the way up the stairs and down the hall. No sign of his mom and dad, but he could hear water running in the bathroom. Their house was so different from the dark, cold castle, so safe and cozy and friendly. Annie stopped at her bedroom door. She gave Jack a smile. Then disappeared inside her room. Jack hurried into his room. He took off his damp clothes and put on his dry, soft pajamas. He sat down on his bed and unzipped his backpack. He took out his wet notebook. He felt around for the pencil, but his hand touched something else. Jack pulled the fluid bookmark out of his pack. It must have fallen out of the castle book. Jack held the bookmark close to his lamp and studied it. The leather was smooth and round. It seemed ancient. For the first time, Jack noticed the letter on the bookmark, a fancy M. Jack opened the drawer next to his bed. He took out the gold medallion. He looked at the letter on it. It was the same M. Now, this was an amazing new pact. Jack took a deep breath. One mystery solved. The person who had dropped the gold medallion in the time of the dinosaur was the same person who owned all the books in the treehouse. Who was this person? Jack placed the bookmark next to the medallion. He closed the drawer. He picked out his pencil. He turned the wrist web page in his notebook and he started to write down this new fact. The same. But before he could draw the M, his eyes closed. He dreamed they were with the night again. All three of them riding the black horse through the cool, dark night, beyond the outer wall of the castle, and up over a moonlit hill into the mist. The end.